Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Healthy Pros Expert Series. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about standardized recipes and why they are important for child nutrition programs. My name is Amy Krehely. I am a project manager here at Healthy Pro. I'm also a registered dietitian, and I've been working in child nutrition for the past 20 years. So we've all had experiences where we made a recipe one day based on, just from our memory. And then we decide to make that recipe again a couple of weeks later, but we can't remember the exact ingredients that were used or the steps that we took to make that recipe, and it comes out totally different the next time. May not taste as good or have the best quality like it did the last time, and we really wish we had written the recipe down so that we could remember how to make it the next time. So that's why it's important to have and to follow standardized recipes. The USDA defines standardized recipes as a recipe that has been tried, adapted, and retried at least 3 times and has been found to produce the same good results and yield every time when the exact procedures are used with the same type of equipment and the same quantity and quality of ingredients. So basically what this means is that when making a standardized recipe, you want to test it. And you want to make sure that it comes out the exact same way at least 3 times, following the exact process every time. Once it's come out the same 3 times, it can then become your official standardized recipe for you to be able to use in your kitchens. So what are the benefits of using a standardized recipe? It will allow you to have a consistent taste and yields. Again, every time the recipe is made, you know that you're going to have the same taste as the first time that you made it or as it's written in the recipe. Allow you to have predictable food costs, better forecasting and less waste. So you want to make sure you're not overproducing or underproducing, and following a standardized recipe will allow for that. It will simplify your staff training. So you train them once on how to make the recipe, and then they can follow that same recipe every time and produce the same results. It will allow for an accurate nutrient analysis. This is really important for child nutrition programs because we're required to have a nutrient analysis for all of our recipes and our menus. So following a standardized recipe will make sure that we can do a nutrient analysis of that recipe, and we'll have that information available. And also allow for easier allergen tracking. So many students may have, that we work with, may have food allergies. And we want to give them the allergy information for the recipes. And by following a true recipe, we know that the information that we're giving them is accurate. So here's the components that make up a standardized recipe. The recipe should have a title and a description. It's also really helpful to have a picture of the recipe so that the person who's making it knows kind of what it's supposed to look like when it's done, and also just a description of what it is. It should have a recipe category. So is it an entree or if it's a side dish? It should have a list of all of the ingredients being used in the order in which they are used. And you want to make sure you're as descriptive as possible with these ingredients, how you'll be purchasing them, what form they're in, if there's any preparation that's needed beforehand for the ingredients. For example, corn. Is it frozen corn or is it canned corn? Should it be drained canned corn? Onions, are they chopped onions or sliced onions? Shredded lettuce. So as detailed information as you can give about the ingredients as possible. The unit of measurement for each ingredient in weight and in volume. So it's helpful whenever possible to have both of these units of measurement because they both kind of give you different information or can be used for different reasons. Oftentimes we order or we pull ingredients in weight. So for example, like shredded cheddar cheese. We want to know the weight of the amount of cheese that we need so we know how much to order and how much we need to gather for our recipe. But then we also want to know when we're making the recipe how much to measure out of that shredded cheddar cheese. So if we need like 1 cup of cheese, that equates to about 4 ounces. So having both of those pieces of information about the ingredient is helpful. So you want to have preparation directions, steps on how to prepare the recipe, again, being as detailed as possible so that the person making the recipe knows exactly how to make it. We want to have cooking time, the preparation time, how long it takes to cook it, how long it takes to prepare it, and the temperature at which it should be cooked at. Serving size. So this is really important as well. This would be like the serving size that you would put on your production record so that the person serving the food knows exactly how much to give. So say you're making like French toast, maybe 2 slices of French toast would be your serving size, or applesauce, a half a cup of applesauce is your serving size. And also for things like that, you might be using a serving utensil to serve them, including that serving utensil as well. So maybe for that applesauce, use a 4-ounce spoodle, or for mashed potatoes, a number 8 scoop. And then the yield. So the yield would be the total volume and the total weight of the product that's going to be made, as well as how many portions using that serving size. So how many portions does this recipe yield using that serving size that you identified? And all this information can be calculated or measured out when you are doing your testing. So food safety information, like critical control points, what the recipe should be cooked to, what temperature and what temperature should be held at or cooled to. Crediting information. So again, very important and necessary in child nutrition programs. You can use the food buying guide for like raw ingredients, or maybe if you're using like any processed ingredients that might have a product formulation statement or a child nutrition label. You could use those to calculate the crediting of the recipe. A nutrient analysis of the recipe. So this could be done either by hand using a calculator, using math, or it's really helpful to have a nutrient analysis software like Healthy Pro, which will do all those calculations for you when you plug the recipe in. And then marketing guide information. Again, using the food buying guide, how much of those different ingredients you need to purchase in order to prepare the recipe. So Healthy Pro has a global recipe database with over 5,000 recipes already entered into our software for our customers to use. Thousands of those are standardized recipes. We've already done the work for you. We've entered those recipes in there. A lot of those recipes from the USDA, different state agencies have recipes that we have in there. We have recipes from manufacturers using their products, as well as some consulting groups. So again, we've already done the work for you, entered in those standardized recipes for you to be able to go in there, find a recipe that works for you, and be able to use that in your kitchens. If you want any more information or more detailed information about standardized recipes, check out the USDA's standardized recipe guide they have on their website. It's a whole guidebook that gives you lots of information if you want to find out more. Okay, thanks for watching.